Welcome to August 1st. We are in the second decan of Leo, which is Leo. And the first day of August is the Queen of Diamond Day in the cards of destiny. So today's the Queen of Diamond Day, and I picked a tarot card today, and it was the Queen of Diamonds, Queen of Wands, which represents fire, the wands. So this is a very big day in terms of we are now into August, the 8th month of the year, in the 5th sign of the zodiac. And how is everyone doing? Hope everyone had a nice week. As you can see, there was an 8.8 magnitude earthquake in Alaska. And it's one of the biggest earthquakes ever to hit us that we have recorded in the past years. And there were a lot of tsunami warnings on alert, but nothing happened, thank goodness. There were some 4-foot waves coming in to Hawaii and I believe California. And so those are pretty big size waves, not to get me wrong. Today is August 1st, and I am Jody Shirami at Astropod on the Squarecast. Welcome to this week astrology report. I hope everybody's doing well. This is the report for August 1st through August 8th. We are in the Lion's portal, which will perfect this Friday on the 8th. 8/8. Okay, here we go. So today on the 1st, it's a little bit of a crazy emotional day. Venus is semi-squaring Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So Venus and Cancer squaring here is bringing up the need for others, companionship. Venus is seeking companionship, friendship here, and so it can feel a little bit alone, maybe lonely. As Rick Levine says, loneliness could set in here. And then because of this situation, Aries, we might be projecting unhappiness onto others by not taking responsibility for our own needs and making us happy in who we are. So when it squares Saturn and Neptune, we're going to be seeking outside sources instead of looking within ourselves to see how it is that we feel, because Mars again, Venus is in Cancer, and Cancer is a nurturing, cardinal, emotional sign, and is a very intelligent emotional sign. So for it to square Aries, there's energy there that Venus wants to use, and Saturn might not be helping with that sense of love and security that they might want with Venus and Cancer. And Neptune can be making all of this love energy a little bit delusional. And so Venus here can be seeking security, validation, and may not receive it in this little square of energy that's happening today. But it's going to not last too long. So hopefully it'll go out soon. Then we'll come back to loving ourselves and giving ourselves what we need without looking for it outwardly. And then the Scorpio Moon, which is here right now, is going to trine Jupiter at 1:25 p.m., which is like right around now, this afternoon, maybe another hour from now. I'm recording this today, and it's going to help with this feeling because, again, Scorpio Moon is also very emotional. It's a fixed emotional sign, so it doesn't really dilly-dally with options here. It's fixed. It's like, I know what I know, and I'm going to meet up with Jupiter, so I'm going to feel very loved right here. So that's how Scorpio Moon is feeling. But also Venus is quincunxing Pluto, and that is making our values a little bit wishy-washy, because Pluto gets in Aquarius, which is a detached emotional sign. So this could be going on also And so, you know, we got to get going. We got to really figure out today, just let it go. It's just not going to last too long, and just release it, right? Tomorrow, Mars in Virgo is going to quincunx Chiron. And quincunx again is like a square, but a little bit tighter square. So the energy is a little bit tighter. It's not as broad based. So here you're going to want to really want and need this inner healing. And so when it's yourself trying to heal yourself with Mars in Virgo, who is a healer, especially about food in our stomachs, here we're going to start feeling maybe a little bit uncomfortable because maybe we haven't been doing the right things for our bodies. And again, Mars in Virgo, Mars is debilitated here. Mars can't do exactly what it wants. It has to overthink sometimes here. And so overing itself could be a situation where it just keeps pushing itself and it never figures it out because it keeps feeling like it needs more healing, more healing. So this could be a problem tomorrow. You know, we'll talk about this a little bit more as the time goes on, how I would deal with this. And then the moon in Sag on Sunday slips into Sagittarius about 2 a.m. Eastern time. And it's going to trine Mercury retrograde and the Sun in Leo. So the moon in Sag is ruled by Jupiter here. And so the moon here is very optimistic, really playing detective, especially after leaving Scorpio, who is a detective. Sagittarius will carry that on. It is a fire mutable sign. So the moon here is very mutable. Sagittarius likes adventure, likes meeting new people. So here with the trining Mercury and the Sun, we're going to really be happy to chit chat, especially in such a way that could be very romantic because the Sun is romantic and it rules over your heart. So the moon and the Sun here trining each other could be a very romantic day. Could be a great day with family also. With Mercury retrograde, you might want to talk because Mercury retrograde is basically thinking about your family, thinking about our friends. Here, maybe you could have a reunion. You could be meeting someone. Mercury retrograde, you could be meeting someone from your past because the Sun, again, rules your heart chakra. And groups of people and children and activities, sporting activities. So Sunday could be one of those days where you're out and about and running into old friends, especially if you're home visiting. A lot of people I know go home and visit during the summer, and this is when they catch up with their old high school mates or elementary. I didn't have that. I moved around. So as that's happening with Mercury, Mars in Virgo, where it begins to leave Virgo and head into Libra, where it will perfect the Grand Trine coming up shortly. So we're starting to feel Mars at the very last degrees of Virgo shortly, especially with all this occurring. And so that's what we're going to start to feel on the 3rd is this Mars getting ready to move into Libra. Because again, Mars is debilitated in Virgo. Mars will pick up some energy in Libra. And then on the 4th through the 5th, the moon in Capricorn will be squaring Saturn, Neptune, and then opposes Venus. Now the moon in Capricorn is moving into those situations, preparing us for this Mars entering Libra. So we're going to feel, you know, the moon in Capricorn squaring Saturn and Neptune at around 1 p.m. on the 4th is really going to, again, make us feel uncomfortable here because the studious, strict moon, who can be playful in the right mood here, is going to be squaring Saturn and Neptune, its own sign, because again, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So this is a lot of inner work for especially Capricorns and Pisces people. So this is the emotional need energy that's in this box that needs to be released. And how are we going to release this? We're going to have to really look deeply, especially as the moon is opposing Venus in Cancer. This moon in Capricorn, it's also going to have aspects to Venus in Cancer, because again, it's opposing Cancer. Cancer is its opposite sign, right? So it's opposing Venus in Cancer. We're going to really feel kind of serious on the 4th, especially as Mars begins to move into Libra at these very critical last degrees of Virgo. So this opposition is going to really seek to mend our partnerships, because again, Capricorn, Cancer are the opposite, the balance here. And again, when you balance everything out, this is how you learn to balance yourself out. So with the Capricorn Moon opposing Venus in Cancer, Venus again is our values, what we want, and the moon is our emotional need and what we want, and our faith in society and in ourselves. So this is a big transit for the whole world, not just personal, because the moon again and Venus are personal planets. So personally, we'll be feeling this, but we'll also be seeing it viewed in the real world, how the world's going to deal with this, especially with the Capricorn Moon squaring Saturn and Neptune. And that again is the apex of the kite configuration I've been speaking about since last week. And we'll talk about that a little more as we head into August 6th. Mars has now entered Libra at 7:43 p.m. So, and it's going to begin and bring the kite formation. The tail of the kite formation is Mars in Libra down here. Okay, so that's the end of the kite formation. It's going to oppose, the Mars is going to oppose, again, Saturn, Neptune, right at 1 degree. Now they're retrograded back to 1 degree, and so they're going to oppose each other. And that already is a balancing act, right? Because Mars in Libra here, where Venus rules over, and Venus is in Cancer. So Mars here will be very thoughtful and nurturing in Libra, and Libra already is ruled by Venus. So Libra is already wants diplomacy, wants friendship, wants cooperation. So Mars here will be thinking more before it acts. It's going to be thinking, well, I don't really want to have a war. I would rather do diplomacy first, which is what we see out in the real world. Diplomacy beginning. It's not there yet, but it's getting there by the 5th. No, the 6th. Next week on the 6th, which would be Wednesday. So by next Wednesday, diplomacy will be in high gear. And as you saw, Thailand and Cambodia, the country I was born, Thailand, and I was born north of this region that is having a border dispute about a temple that has been kind of in a territory where they both can use it, Thailand and Cambodia. And so they started a skirmish. Someone shot the Cambodian border guard, one of their guards, and that fueled tensions. And so then Cambodia struck back, and then Thailand struck back, and then the female prime minister of Thailand began a talk on the phone with her counterpart in Cambodia, their prime minister. And somehow that telephone call got translated by the Thai government that it was a conversation that was deemed bad for Thailand somehow. We don't really know what they were saying, but somehow they blamed her for being friendlier to Cambodia than she should have been after one of the Cambodian soldiers was killed there on the border. So then they put in a temporary male prime minister in Thailand, which they've done before many times. They'll take down someone that they find some kind of corruption, and they'll take them down, and the military ruled for a couple of years after that. And just got the military out of rule, just voted in this female prime minister in Thailand, and they found her to be wanting. So now they have a male in there, and he and the Malaysian country, their government wanted a ceasefire because we don't want tension in that area because we're just not really war people. Southeast Asianers really, most of us don't really think about war and how other people have done us wrong. From what I see, from the way I've been raised, I don't really, we never want to go fight anybody, you know, really. We've never been conquered. We've never been colonized by the West. Shortly, a little while, Japan conquered Thai government for a little bit. So the Malaysian government came in and brokered a peace deal, which was great. And now this Mars Libra feeling is about a week away, but again, they're ahead of us in terms of time. They're about a day ahead, 12 hours ahead. So things work a little bit quicker on the east, in the east. The time frame so different that peace has been brokered for now, so hopefully it works. And Thailand's one of those countries where so many expats live that, you know, destabilizing that whole area with the war would be really not what we want over there for trade purposes. That is already really to happen, again, with the apex of the kite being the Neptune-Saturn conjunction in Aries, being ruled by Mars, and Mars is in its opposite sign of Libra, where it is the weakest in terms of starting, sparking, whatever it is you want to call the Aries energy, pioneering energy. Mars here is being softened by Venus. Okay, so here we have Venus coming into Mars territory and saying, hey, you know, we could, you know, you could. And then again, up in Aries with Saturn being influenced by being with Pisces this whole time. And now it's with Neptune. There are buddies right now hanging out, going back and forth between Aries and Pisces. They're getting ready to do that again together. But again, Saturn moves a little faster, so Saturn is going to move back further into Pisces than Neptune, and then Saturn will wake up before Neptune and start moving back in conjunction with Neptune as they are in Aries, and their true conjunction will happen again, February 20th, 2026, and that really is when the spark will light up. So we are in that slow moving time with planets retrograde. Mercury is retrograde until the 11th. And the 11th is when Venus and Jupiter conjunct in Cancer. So that's going to be an awesome time for us, because I know with Mercury asleep, my head is just like a little bit out of it and almost forgetful sometimes, unless I wrote down a reminder. I can be a little bit dizzy. So the action doesn't stop there. On the 7th, the Leo Sun at 15 degrees is a world access point. For all the fixed signs, 15 degrees is the world access point where fame occurs, where the world knows what's going on. Just like right now, Saturn and Neptune are at 1 and 0 degrees of the world access point in Aries, because it is a cardinal sign. So there is a lot of activity right here at the world access point. So during this time, there's going to be some big news that makes the headlines, and with these outer planets like Pluto involved, it could be a big secret coming out, which we've been talking about. August has the potential for some very big revelations and truths coming forward. Mars has got a half square opposing Saturn and Neptune again. So this is the dynamic time, Rick Levine is saying, because this is when the kite formation becomes very powerful. And that is going to occur when the Aquarius Moon conjoins Pluto at 9:18 p.m. on August 7th, Thursday. And then it will trine Uranus in Gemini, sextile the apex of Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and trines Uranus in Gemini. Did I already say that? I'm not sure. But again, the Aquarius Moon, which is going to be a full moon coming up on the 9th. It's not a full moon yet. It is conjuncting Pluto 2 degrees or 1 degrees. Aquarius, I think it's at 2 degrees still. Maybe, I think it's at 1 degrees. It's right around there. But still, it's a big deal when Aquarius Moon is with Pluto, because again, that's our collective emotions, and it is a detached air sign. Aquarius Moon will be the person that doesn't feel sadness right away for some kind of emotional thing happening. But not to say they don't have emotions, because everyone has emotions. Everyone has a moon, right? So their emotions here would be a little bit more private, because Aquarius is about the people. So when it's the people involved, we'll all feel the same way, and we'll all be a little detached and a little bit more analytical. You know, we are opposing the Leo sun at 15 degrees. Something can come out for sure that might have to do with the tech world, and how it's not helping us, because again, the sun represents our core, our heart. Something can come up here that our love of ourselves is being impinged upon, like maybe our ability to not have the internet tracking everything we do, spying on us, facial recognition. Little things like this could be coming up today. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't want to be tracked. So this is one of those things I think really is going to be a huge going forward, especially as these planets are retrograde right now. When they wake up next year, I have a feeling this will be a big issue in terms of how much rights do, you know, these big internet people have. But with the algorithm here, I hope you like and subscribe and comment, because that will help my algorithm to help reach more people like you, so we can all bond together and help save the world from detachment. Again, there's nothing wrong with Aquarius Moon being detached. Sometimes you need, especially as an Aquarius Moon would be coming up next, I need some detachment occasionally, and my Libra rising helps me with that. Thank goodness. Oh my God. Okay, so now we are in that perfection that we're talking about. Rick Levine says here that this Aquarius Moon conjoining Pluto, and then trining Mars, and then trining Uranus, and then sextile Neptune and Saturn, and all these things is an apocalyptic moment. And I think that apocalyptic moment that Rick Levine is talking about is referring back to maybe what I said a little bit ago about how something is going to come out and be revealed to us as the Aquarius Moon has a chit-chat with Pluto in Aquarius. And again, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is in Gemini, which is about communication, about the masses and how they communicate. It's about your twin, which isn't always, you know, it could be the twin that's dark versus the twin that's light, your alter ego, your personality, your subconscious. So there's a lot going on here that could be apocalyptic for a lot of people, because again, Leo, the sun at 15 degrees, is a very world access for a leader, for a king and queen, For someone that is a star, someone that is highly in the public eye, this could be really commanding their emotions if something comes out. So even though this week seems kind of quiet coming in, but if you know August and you know Leo and the Virgo thing, then nothing ever is quiet in August when it comes time. A lot of stuff happens in August because the sun is at home in its place of strength. So the sun right here is super powerful, as you can see with the release of all these plasma from the sun and the earthquake that just occurred as soon as the plasma reached Earth. So just be prepared. And I know it's kind of a lazy time when Mercury is asleep, and that's fine. You can relax and all these things. You can turn off the news and all that, but still you have to be aware of certain things that might happen, like if an alarm goes off for you to evacuate because of a storm, you have to be able to do that. So you can't totally turn off your internet and stuff like that right now. And so on the 8th is when the exact square happens between the sun and Saturn and Neptune at the apex. And so this is going to be spotlighting things that we do not know. Again, talking about that Pluto Moon meetup in Aquarius, is going to be spotlighting something we don't know, something that we might have had a thought or an inkling about, and now it's going to be revealed because the square is going to be exact between Saturn and Neptune in Aries. And again, Aries is where the sun is exalted. So the sun squaring here, we're really going to get into the thick of it all now. And so it's probably a little bit of a blessing that Mercury is retrograde, so that we can process this information in a more patient time, a slower time that's occurring. So that's one thing about the dog days of summer, is that you do get a chance to wind down and relax during the break of summer before school starts, which is only in 2 weeks for us, or a week and a half. So all these things are occurring when we're usually with our family or we're on a break. And so we can kind of address these things quickly with our family because they're usually around us or we're getting ready to see. Or it could be because we're used to seeing our family this time and having all these events that this can also blow up in our faces, because again, Saturn, Neptune, and Aries is the apex of this kite. And going across here and then coming down to here. So there's a lot of oppositions. Two oppositions with the Grand Trine, which is also Grand Cross, Grand Trine, and makes a kite. So it is a powerful time. It's a very special, powerful time with the Lion's Gate on Friday, 8/8 perfecting, as it does every year. Use this week to really manifest what you would like out of that Lion's Gate. What kind of dreams are you thinking about? And also next week when we come back, Venus and Jupiter will be perfecting their conjunction. So that's a big, big, nice present from the universe also. But again, that conjunction will be having some aspects. The Grand Air Trine is now perfected in the sign of Libra as Mars moved into there, and Aquarius with Pluto in there, and Gemini with Uranus there. So that is the Grand Air sign. So with air here, there can be a lot of surprises with Uranus and information with Gemini. There can be action with Mars and Libra here that is a little bit more detached, which can either be good, because now, oh, maybe we don't need this war, my feelings aren't as hurt, or it could be more war because I am hurt and I'm thinking about it. I'm really pissed. So that could happen with Mars. And of course, Pluto in Aquarius, again, doing its thing, changing the way we communicate, the way we look at computers, the way we relate to each other, because Aquarius is about the people. And of course, we can't forget about the apex at Aries, the fire sign, with Saturn and Neptune here, beginning the head of the kite. We have a lot going on. I hope you guys really pay attention this first week of August in terms of how you communicate, how you think and plan for the future. And I hope you've gotten in touch more with what it is you want out of life. As Mercury's still retrograde here until the 11th or the 12th, you have a little bit of time to think and rework things that you might want to do. And then we're off to the races the middle of August as things really start to move along with Mars in Libra. And the Sun and Mars and Libra, the Sun and Leo and the Mars and Libra are co-workers. They help each other. So it's a good combination, like a lot of the same things. And with the air being detached in Libra, even though it's ruled by Venus, it's still a little bit detached in terms of it's not so much about your emotions. It's more about aesthetics and liking fashion and liking colors, how they mesh and match, and things like that. And, you know, interior decorating, gardening, how you want your garden to look. So all these things are very powerful during this time as Mars begins to move into Libra. It's going to be a nice synchrony of yourself, the sovereign, and how you can interact with other people through Mars in Libra. Because again, Libra likes to be with people. It is a diplomatic sign. It likes to please other people, sometimes too much, but usually not. Once they figure out what's going on, they've been used. Ooh, watch out. They do not like it. Whoo, their air sign. They'll blow some hot air your way. So what else is going on? The earthquake in Russia. Also, there was a earthquake in California yesterday at a 4.5 recorded and reported by Stefan Burns. So if you haven't watched him, you should watch him. He's really has that thing going where he's got that scientific mind, but he's starting to connect it to the spirituality part of the planets and how they move around. So that's really good. We need a lot more younger people like that. Like my sons are like that. So this generation coming up, people under, I'd say 32 to 30, under 30, they really are a lot more spiritual. They are also very scientific. And you can see a lot in the world with the new movies coming out, the books, the thoughts, the ideas, the internet. So, what else is going on? Gaza is supposedly getting ready to have a compromise again. And some countries have already recognized Palestine as a nation, which is the first beginning of that, helping out the world, helping the world's children. When you see children starving and dying of starvation, and no one really dies of starvation anymore, so it's really a sad thing when you see babies dying, like we did in Africa at the time, and there was the concert to help that. It doesn't seem as though a lot of people are validating or saying that it is a crime against humanity, because that's what it is. In this day and century, for us to have a dictator as a president, to have all these things happening, we are very much at the bottom of the Kali Yuga, the 22,000 year cycle that we go through as humans. We are seeing all those things that all of us fight with, because again, we're just humans and we're one coin with two sides, the devil and the angel. And so we're really seeing right now that the devil's fighting hard, and the angel is starting to wonder and get beaten down for being good. And the devil is becoming more able to influence the masses. So religion here is now truly being seen. If you are a thought-provoking person, you can see how Neptune being with Saturn in Aries is really showing us that religion isn't really truthful in some ways, and you can use the word of religion to twist it and do the wrong things to each other. You can twist the cross into a Nazi symbol. You can make it so that you compromise with yourself to where you end up not knowing what's right and wrong. And so this is a very powerful karmic time in the universe for all of our souls. And we really need to guide ourselves towards a better world and stand up for what we know is right and wrong. And loving children, like the children in Gaza, we don't want to strip them of their life. That is really what Leo's power is loving children and loving games and sports, all things children love. But to be using children as sexual objects is the opposite of what Leo wants, and that's Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto and Aquarius is trying to end all that, because as the opposite sign of Leo, when you love yourself and you want to share with others, you have to love yourself in such a way that you're not abusing children, because something inside of you was probably abused when you were younger and you're reaching out for something. And it's been shown that people that were abused in any way when they were younger, they tend to grow up and do that out to the world, abusing children if they were abused sexually, as we saw with the Catholic Church and all the priests. Let's not forget that. And the nuns abusing girls in orphanages. So we know that there's a lot of abuse of power within the clergy or the people that serve God, that are supposed to be nuns and priests, which means they are non-sexual. They say they're not going to have sex with anyone because they're married to God. So, I'm not saying that it's only Catholic religion. I'm saying it's all over the world, this abuse is, because it wasn't even until the 19-something that kids were still working here in America. Slaves, white kids up north, working in factories, being abused by the rich, the powerful, and that's still going on today. So a lot of things haven't changed. Maybe they've gotten a lot better because we have laws now that says your children can't work when they're 9 years old. And I know the president right now is trying to change that. So a kid needs to have his youth, his dreams, his faith, his belief, his needs to be who he wants or she wants to be. And we really shouldn't get involved with that as adults. We should only inspire and encourage and teach and help them to get to their dreams. But if their dreams is to be a serial pedophile or a serial murderer, then we have to change that babies' mindset by teaching them how to love themselves, and that to know that whoever harmed you were not good people, and don't listen to those people. And that's something that's really hard to do. If you've seen people that were abused and taken away from home, once they got rescued, like in Thailand, when they get rescued and they're brought back to the village, it's almost too late because now they're addicted to drugs and they can't live in a village anymore because they were used to getting their drugs and whatever it was they were used to getting, they weren't getting it in the village, because now in the village will also treat them badly for being kidnapped and being used as a sex worker. So that's just some of the stories I've heard, and I'm sure they're everywhere. But to end on a good note, Venus and Jupiter meeting up will be very great, and we're in that process now of Venus meeting up with Jupiter. And since this is where the moon resides, it is the home of the moon, we all will be feeling this collectively, this beautiful feeling. The same with the sun being at 15 degrees of the world axis. We also will have that chance that day to make history, maybe get our 15 minutes of fame. So I wish you well. I hope you have a great week. And to my spiritual children, good job out there doing your jobs, finishing your classes, being happy, getting out there, okay? And I appreciate you guys. And I'll be back next week on the Lion's Portal. The Lion Gate portal on 8/8. Okay, so I'll be back, and that will still be Leo Decan. Okay, all right. I'll talk to you guys next week. I appreciate you for being here. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for my comments last week. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. Bye.